Hello and welcome to the BSSS e-content video. I'm from the Department of English and my name is Piyush Pradhan. Our today's chapter is Night of the Scorpion. Before we could begin with the chapter, we'll be targeting 4 to 5 different features. Firstly, I'm going to take up the way how this particular chapter was originally taken up by the author. Then immediately we are going to change it into summary, followed by glossary and some question and answers with exercises. Let's begin understanding this particular chapter. I remember the night my mother was stung by a scorpion. 10 hours of steady rain had driven the scorpion to crawl beneath a sack of rice inside the village hut. Parting with his poison flash of diabolic tail in the dark room, the scorpion has actually witnessed the rain again that has stalked him inside the hut. The peasants or the farmers of the village came like swarms of flies and buzzed the name of God at least 100 times to paralyze the evil one. With candles and with lanterns, throwing giant scorpion shadows on the sun-baked walls of the hut, they searched for him everywhere but could not find the scorpion. It wasn't found anywhere at all, unfortunately. They clicked their tongues with every movement the scorpion made, but it's the poison that has moved in the mother's blood very quickly. May he sit still. May the sins of your previous birth be burnt away tonight, they said. Make your suffering decrease the misfortunes of the next birth. May the poison purify your flesh. And they sat around on the floor with my mother, circling her in the center on the mat. There were found more candles. There were more lanterns. There were more neighbors of the village. Creeping insects inside, making very dangerous sounds. And of course the endless rain. My mother twisted through and through, groaning on mat. She was in fact writhing in pain. My father, so skeptic, a rationalist, trying every curse and blessing. He was in fact also knew how to use medications, thereby he used some herbs and shrubs in a form of a powder or a mixture of some hybrid chemical solutions. Even he tried to pour some little paraffin upon the bitten toe of the mother and put a match to it. It was just that, unfortunately, with so much of sad emotions, I watched the flame feeding on my mother's feet, gradually hoping to give me some substantial result out of the process. But it was only after 20 long hours that the poison lost its sting. Now the summary is in fact very simple to understand. It is about that night when a woman in a poor village in India is stung by a scorpion. The scorpion is shown as sheltering from 10 hours of rain, but it is so fearful of people that it risks the rain again after stinging the poet's mother. There were too many anxious neighbors that were pouring into her hut to offer advice and help. All sorts of cure are tried by the neighbors. Her husband and even the local holy man was involved to cure the woman. But time proves to be the best healer for all of them. After suffering, the mother actually felt so much grateful that the scorpion stung her and not her children of the hut. So what can we figure out? Well, this poem highlights the ignorance of the village folks and also the unconditional love of a mother towards her children. It is that poignant poem that evokes a strong hold of superstition prevalent among the villagers. We are now going to learn glossary. Let's take up the first word, buzzed, to make a low, drowning and vibrating sound. Second word, clicked, a brief, sharp sound. Third, diabolic, having the qualities of a devil. Fourth word, incantation, the chanting or uttering of words purporting to have magical powers. And lastly, skeptic, one who instinctively or habitually doubts all the time. We're going to take up the use of the chapter exercises now in this part of the slide. We're going to take up short answer type questions which are of 1 or 2 lines each. The first question: how did the peasants try to paralyze the evil one? Second question: how did the villagers react to the mother's agony? And lastly, what attempts were made by the holy men to tame the poison? Out of the available 5 or 7 questions, these are some handful of short answer questions I have traced out for my audiences. We have got the use of the long answer type questions at the same time. This will include 100 words each at least. Let's begin with at least 2 questions which I have taken up. The first long answer question: write a short note on the superstitions of the villagers. And the second question: show the different qualities in the narrator's father and mother in the poem. Now we have reached to the important section which will include some exercises, and the first exercise will be choosing up the correct options. The theme is like this: the peasants came like swarms of flies. What kind of a figure of speech is? Is it a metaphor? Is it a simile? Is it a personification? Or is it the alliteration? So you have to decide for yourself which part or which criteria are we talking about. We have to choose the rightful option in that. Now, the further section in which we are going to trace out the correct matching word again. A skeptic is a person who doubts everything, believes everything, always think of God, or removes curses. So it is up to you to correctly trace out the proper matching word with its explanation. We are going to now talk about the use of the vocabulary at the same time. Now in this part, the vocabulary will be consisting the use of antonyms. And these are the words which we are looking at carefully. The first is parting. The antonym of this word is acquiring. Second, tame. The antonym to it is wild or fierce. Peace, conflict. And lastly, lost. Its antonym is found. We have got some sentences now where there will be words, and by taking up those words with their rightful meanings, we will be constructing a suitable structure so that these glossaries or words can be left memorized by our brain for a very long period of time. This could be one of the technique or trick to remember such meanings and, of course, the constructions. The first word is diabolic. Now, diabolic is talking about something so devilish in nature, a quality of a devil. So, we are going to relate it with the chapter itself. The construction is: the ghost-like apparition out of scorpion tail on the dark wall of the hut was enough to terrify neighbors around. The second meaning we can trace from the same word is: the presence of the deadly virus as pandemic of the world is diabolic enough to irritate normal lifestyles of individuals everywhere around. Now the next word, rationalist, meaning one who accepts the principle of reasons as the supreme authority in the matters of opinion, belief, or conduct. Let's understand it with proper structure. It was the poet's father, as rationalist, to perform certain acts so as to get rid of the scorpion's poison on time and safeguard my mother from such ordeal. Now the last word, incantation, the chanting of words purporting to have magical powers. The construction. The peasants of the village were all indulged in the process of incantation so as their voices be heard by God and relieve the old lady out of such excruciating pain. I hope my audiences have truly relished these sentences by using the following words. And lastly, we are having the part of the exercise where we'll be using some following pair of words so as to bring out the differences between their meanings. Let's take up the first combination. Through and thorough. Well, there is a world of difference in their understanding and explanation. Through means something that is done over, but thorough means something that is brief or in detail. Next combination, curse and course. Curse means a swear word against somebody, but course means a sort of succession or a sequence. Now the last pair, rights and rights, one with TES, another with GHTS. So the first word with TES, rights, is burials or cremations or some kind of rituals. But the spelling RIGHTS means one that has justified the truth. I hope all my audiences have thoroughly understood this chapter of Night of the Scorpion, and it will be easier for the students to understand this chapter with its fruitful meaning at the time of facing the examinations. Thank you so much and goodbye.